Hello to everyone and welcome to our podcast, Dare to Know Yourself. In this episode, I'm with Yarisbeth. She's from South Texas in the United States. She works as a speech therapist, as a speech language pathologist assistant in Brownsville, Texas. Sorry, it's a long name.
Yeah.
And then moved to Spain to pursue a master's in bilingual and multicultural education at Universidad Alcalá de Henares in Alcalá de Henares. She has been living in Spain for 4 years and she's working as a speech therapist here in CNews. And she's excited to be part of the team and to talk today about the speech delays. Is the topic that we are going to talk about today. So, hello Yaris, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good. How are you today?
Very excited about the podcast as well, and I think it's a very interesting topic. So, hope this can be valuable and useful for our audience.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, so you actually have written an article about it, about the speech delays that you can already see in our webpage, in our blog.
Oh, okay.
But we are going to talk a little bit about it and give some useful information for our audience. So, let's start from the beginning, from the beginning. So, in your article, you talk about building a foundation for words. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is that as babies grow, their abilities change. They're like sponges, they're constantly learning and developing. They go from newborns who mostly sleep to walking, talking toddlers. But the thing is that doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot that happens in between these two phases, from them being newborns to these walking, talking toddlers. So it's very easy for us to celebrate these big changes, like these things that we notice, like the walking and the talking, but there's so much that happens before that. And it's easy to kind of overlook these things. And these minor changes that they go through, these are the ones that kind of lead to the walking and talking. These are the skills that build the foundation for words.
Okay, and does this foundation for words show up the same in every baby?
We know that every baby is different. So each child is different and each one is going to develop at their own pace, And not all of them are going to hit their milestone mark at the said age. But there's still certain skills that a baby should acquire before they're able to speak. So, and some children might need a little bit of extra help and guidance, to kind of get to that point.
And what are these pre-language skills?
So, pre-language skills are prerequisites for speech and language. They're a set of skills that develop alongside one another. So, maybe you won't always see them in a specific order, they might show up at the same time. But there's skills that show up in both normal developing children and children with language disorders. These skills are what children use to communicate before they can actually speak. And pre-language skills must be consistent and present, and very strong in order for the children to be able to form words.
Okay, and how can someone know if their child is ready to talk?
Well, lucky for us, there's this incredible, detailed podcast series from Laura Mai. She's a speech language pathologist, and it's like a 20-episode podcast series. And she talks about these 11 pre-language skills, and she goes, into depth, a lot of depth about them, and she just helps you understand, and she tells you why they're important for language. And I went ahead and listened to it, and I just kind of summarized what these pre-language skills are.
Could you tell us which are these 11 pre-language skills?
Of course,
so
yeah.
We can know.
So the first one is response to events in the environment. So what this pretty much means is if they hear a siren outside, they can kind of look and tend to that siren. Or if they hear a knock on the door, they turn around, they oh, okay, someone's knocking. Something falls on the floor, they turn to look. So they respond to these events. That's what that one means. Mm-hmm. The second one is response to people. So are they interested in people? If somebody walks into the door, and they see them, they turn to look at them, maybe smile at them. If I call them by their name, oh, hi, Alvaro, they'll listen to that. The third one, develops an attention span. So attention spans are typically very short in children. Like they usually last about 3 to 6 minutes, and that's if it's something that they actually like. So what this one means, develops an attention span, is like if I present a toy to them, right, and they've never seen the toy before, like they can sit with me long enough to kind of so I can show them kind of like how they can play with it. Maybe the first time they're not going to want to sit there the entire time, but eventually, you know, that attention span will grow. Number 4, exhibits joint attention. So they can share the moment with you. Again, so if I show them a toy and I'm trying to teach them how to play with the toy, or we're both playing with the toy together, they can shift their attention from the toy to me. So they can, you know, kind of play with the toy and then, you know, look at me, and maybe we can be playing together. Number 5, plays with toys. So I mean, playing is actually really huge with toddlers. You know, this is how they learn and they develop language. So do they know how to appropriately play with toys? You know, sometimes kids, what they do is they just throw things around and they don't actually know how to play with the toy. So like them knowing how to appropriately play with a toy, rolling a car, bouncing a ball, you know, playing with a baby, just knowing how to appropriately play with these toys. Number 6, understands and uses early gestures. So do they communicate with their hands? Like, can they wave hello, goodbye? Can they point to something? You know, like if they need something, they call you and they like, hey, like, you know, they point to it. Number 7, understands early words and follows directions. So if you say to the toddler, hey, where's dad? And they turn and they look like, oh, okay, where is he? And they kind of look for him. Or if you say, oh, do you want water? And they can kind of recognize that, okay, she's asking me for water, you know, and he'll kind of like turn to look for the water. I mean, because sometimes what'll happen is like, you'll be like, hey, where's dad? Or do you want water? And they have like a blank stare in their face. So maybe they don't understand exactly what you're saying. Vocalizes, are they noisy? So you want your baby to be very noisy, you know, babbling, almost before they speak, it's almost like they're trying to have a conversation with you. Maybe they're not really saying anything, they're mostly babbling, but you want them to be doing that. Imitates actions and gestures and words, so they can pretty much copy what you're doing. So if you clap your hands like yay, they can do that too. If you like put your hands up and shake them, they can like imitate these things. They can imitate the way you play with a toy, you know, they can also do that same thing. Number 10, initiates interactions. So they take the lead and try to get your attention. So for example, if they need something, you know, they're going to come look for you like, hey, I can't reach it, like, and start pointing. Maybe try to call on you because they want you to play with them. They're hungry, you know, they initiate an interaction with you to kind of express how they're feeling. And number 11, turn taking. So they're able to play back and forth with you. So you can like, you know, roll a car back and forward or roll a ball back and forward, you know, and they can kind of like wait their turn, you know, because this is important because a conversation, that's how it works. It's between two people. So one person waits and the other person speaks. And yeah, so that pretty much sums up these 11 pre-language skills that we must see in toddlers before they can actually start speaking and forming words.
Well, this is very interesting because, as you were saying in the beginning, is something that when you talk is not from night to day, right? That it doesn't happens very fast.
Yeah.
But the points that you are bringing here are very interesting because that's right. Before you talk, you have to understand and you have to listen.
Exactly.
And paying attention to those moments when the child is, you ask your child, where is that? And he looks looking for something, you know, like that is giving you a clue about that he's kind of understanding what you are saying.
Exactly.
So this sounds very logical, and I think it's great to know it because I think can help a lot of parents to understand this process.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook, but I mean, these are things that they need to have, you know, and strong and present, not just every once in a while, but every single day.
That's it. And this being said, how can a parent of a late talker help prepare their child for words?
Okay, so I mean, as a parent, you know your child best. You're the expert on your child. You know, you're the one that coexists with your child. So you need to kind of see like what skills are present in my child and which ones which ones are consistent and strong and which ones aren't there. Which ones can you say, hey, I'm not sure if I see this in my child, you know? If one of these skills is missing or isn't strong, you know, maybe you see it every once in a while, maybe you saw it once, you know, this is kind of the skill that you want to work on and practice to help him get him ready or get her ready. So a couple of questions that we can ask ourselves when trying to determine like how can we help our child talk is which of these skills are present in my child, which aren't, which of these skills show up consistently, and which of them just every once in a while, and which of these skills are strong, and which of them need some extra work. So yeah, we need to determine which of these skills need reinforcement and which ones still need to be introduced.
And imagine that a parent or a mother is listening to us and is following these steps, but they don't see any improvement or any improvement in their child. So how can they know when to attend a speech therapy?
I mean, the thing is that, like I said, you're the expert in your child. So if you feel like you want to go see a professional, you want to go see a speech therapist, then you should go ahead and do it because there's no harm in that, you know? Some people will tell you like, oh, don't worry, like they're still young, they'll eventually talk. But I mean, if you have an itch, then you should just go ahead and check it out, because the earlier the intervention for the child, the better the outcome will be.
Okay. Well, so wrapping up, I would say that we know that pre-language skills play a key role in the language development. Would you like to add something else before we close?
Yeah. I mean, so children must go through all of these skills before they can actually start talking. If our little ones are late talkers, and then, you know, you want to go ahead and look at this list and determine what's missing and what they need to work on. It's important for us to not skip any of these steps. So we really want to reinforce every single one of these steps because they each play a very important role in language development. We don't want to push for words. You know, sometimes it's very easy. We just kind of want to start pushing for words and requesting for them to speak, but sometimes they're just not ready yet, you know? So first we want to work on these 11 pre-language skills. And then after these pre-language skills are strong and stable, then we can start working on forming words, you know? We want to set them up for success so they can be able to start forming words.
Okay, well, Jaris, thank you very much for all this useful information that I think is going to help a lot of parents. And well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alvaro.